If you work for the Catholic Church and want to transform the culture of your parish and put more souls in the pews, we're here to help. I'm Thai Hua, here with my co-host John Cons, and this is the Catholic Ministry Professionals Podcast, your favorite leadership development podcast for Catholic churches. Each week, you can expect engaging discussions, expert interviews, and actionable advice to help you move Jesus' mission forward in your parish. Today, we're discussing AI for Catholic churches. Automate the mundane, make more time for the mission. John, how are you?
Oh, Ty, it's a good day. I wonder if people are going to hear that AI and immediately want to, they're either going to love it or they're going to want to tune it out. I don't think there's not a lot of people that are just like AI, meh. But yeah, if you've ever felt kind of buried under the administrative work you do, and I know a lot of our pastors do, a lot of our CMPs do, that there's just so many emails, there's so many meetings, yada, yada, yada. If you're kind of covered in paperwork, this episode is going to be for you. So we're going to talk about how parish leaders can use practical AI solutions to simplify the way they do their work, potentially to delegate things wisely, and ultimately to free up time for what matters the most, which is, of course, the mission to make disciples. Amen?
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but like I said, a lot of us spend a lot of time managing tasks instead of leading people. Today, we're going to talk about how we can potentially use AI to automate what's mundane so you can focus on the mission. Now, Ty, I want to ask you, on a scale of fun to fanatic, where do you think that I lay in terms of my enjoyment of AI?
I will tell you that every time you text me, there's a 90% chance it's about AI.
Dude, I think it's so fun to play with. I like even if nothing really comes out with it out of it, like it's so fun to play with, and it's so cool to have it help you kind of do your daydreaming and your planning and your dreaming and your scheming and all that stuff. I think some of these tools are really cool. I know people get a little nervous about it, they get a little scared of it, but it's like you don't have to give it any information you don't want to give it. You know, it's just I think it's a fun tool, and I do send you guys, like you and Lee, I send you an obnoxious number of podcasts that I
Talk
think
about AI.
Just little AI ideas that I think are really fun to play around with. And just so people know, I use AI for all of my script generation, all those things. It has saved me. It used to take me at least a half a week to come up with a script for Catholic ministry professionals. Now it takes me 15 minutes, 30 minutes if the output isn't optimal. So I'm telling you, it has saved me hours and hours a week on just like the mundane creation of resources and things that I use in my ministry. So I really think it's worth it. You know, if you're one of those people that wants to tune us out because we're talking about AI, I want to encourage you, just stick around. We're going to give you some tools to really look at AI with a fresh perspective and maybe how it can help you to free up time in your week, which is, I think, the thing we all have the most trouble leveraging, is how to create more time, make more space in our day.
I've got 2 notes on that. And
Sure.
before our listeners tune out, just listen to the note. The first one is not super important, but I will say AI music is like changing my life because it's a different take on a song or an artist or whatever. Like, you can just go onto YouTube and search, your favorite song and AI remake or whatever. It is funny.
Oh,
And
man.
actually some of them are so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Like the 50s version ones.
Yeah,
that
the
you send me?
50s version, or the soul version, or even like there's boy band versions that are recreated in like hard rock, which is funny. So that's the first note. The second note is there are people that utilize AI that have no right to use AI. And what do I mean by that? They actually don't know how to do the job, so they ask AI to do it for them, and then it just comes out as crap, and then they just throw it out there. The caveat with AI is make sure you know your process and you're able to do it yourself. And then you're telling somebody else, act as if you're telling somebody else how to do it, right? So really good prompts, really good descriptive, like instead of just like, hey, I need you to write me a script for my podcast. Like that, it's so vague and it's so gross to see the answers, and you're just like, don't be the person that says, make it better. And then you wait for the response, make it better.
30 iterations later.
Yeah, you have to be so good at your job that you can tell somebody how to do it, and then they do it exactly how you want it done. So that's the caveat. Don't be
Yeah,
the
and it's
person that is like, oh, I don't want to do it, so it's AI that has to do it, right? Like, don't be the person that says, man, I really need to make really good connections with people. And the first thing you think of is Chat GPT. It's like, no, pick up the phone and dial. You clear your schedule up, clean up your emails, clean up your menial tasks. That's what AI is for. So
Mhm.
that, like you said, you can make more time for the mission.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing too is you kind of have there is a learning curve on it, and that's what we're going to talk about. Is there are, as with everything, there are best practices for it, and that's honestly one of the first things we're going to talk about is how to understand those best practices. But yeah, I would say too, don't jump in with both feet and see what happens. Like to grow gradually. So let's talk about the three things to consider if you work for a Catholic church and you're interested in exploring AI and how it can help you to improve your ministry, to renew your ministry, to grow your parish. Okay. So the first of those three things is to grow in understanding. Grow in knowledge. Just what Ty is saying, those caveats that he put out, those are all parts of it. And before you leap into it with both feet, you have to realize that AI is something you can learn as you go, and you can start small. And I want to personally recommend a podcast that I listen to. Now, this is not the one for all resource, but it's a great place to start if you're looking to learn about how AI can potentially be used, what the tools are, and especially as like these tools evolve so fast. That you kind of want to have a voice that can kind of speak to you as things are changing and help you to navigate and understand those things. I really like the AI Explored podcast, and I think it's a great way to grow in knowledge at a sustainable pace, right? I believe they put out one episode a week, and that the episodes are, maybe up to an hour, but you can listen to that throughout the week. And what it does is it helps you to kind of wrap your brain around what AI is, how it can be used. I like this guy's approach because what he does is he really tries to approach it with open eyes. He's not judging anybody who hasn't gotten on the AI train, but is very clear, like, hey, AI is here and it's probably not going anywhere. So here's how we could understand the tools and how to use them better to help us to, again, free up more space, free up more time, work at a higher level. And it just gives real world examples. You have people who are leading voices in the AI space that are his guests on the podcast. And so they'll talk you through all kinds of use cases and scenarios which we could actually use here in our church or in our ministry. So I really encourage you. Like, I think that's the first one, is to grow in understanding. And of course, we're big fans of the 100-hour rule on this podcast. Ty, what's the 100-hour rule?
It's like if you do something for 18 minutes a day for a year, you're in the top 95% of the world in that specific thing.
Right. It's the most underutilized like bar for professional development in the universe. The study essentially found out that if you put in 100 hours of learning, of practice, of repetition in a given year, 100 hours in a year, which boils down to about 18 minutes a day, that you'll be better than 95% of people at that given task, job, idea, whatever it is. So that's kind of the approach here. A 1 hour podcast, you can knock that out in a week. And over time, it's going to slowly build up your understanding and use case application of AI in your work. So again, take the time to do a little bit of research and just learn about what is possible with AI, particularly if you're someone that it makes you nervous, particularly if it seems overwhelming. Just kind of demystify it, bring it down to the ground, and take a moment to learn what's possible. At least take some of the fear off, and then as people are talking at you about AI, you can at least approach it with a little bit of understanding and knowledge and interact in that engagement as well. So that's the first one. The second one then is to identify the best place to start. So as you begin hearing about AI, you might hear about using AI as your marketing professional in your workplace, as your communications director for your parish. These are really big high-end things. Before we get there, try starting small and start in a place that's going to actually help you to do your ministry the most. You can't automate, you can't delegate, you can't improve something that you haven't named. If you haven't put your finger on it, you're not going to be able to really attack it and address it and change it and improve it. So what I want to encourage everybody to do is, if you're really, as you're learning, you're like, oh, I'm interested in implementing some of these things, I really want to encourage you to start first with a time audit. I think that is one of the best ways to kind of boil down, where can I use this the most. And that time audit, we've got a time audit worksheet at catholicministryprofessionals.com/resources. You can just download that, and all you're doing is tracking what you're doing throughout the day. On the worksheet, it's got an example of keeping track every hour of what you're doing. You can break it down into 15-minute increments. Honestly, the more specific you get with the way you're spending your time, the more you're going to be able to look at and analyze this and see what is the best use case for me in the time audit. And as you're logging your activities, I really encourage you in the notes section to write down the priority level of the activity you're working on. Now, you might be checking email. Some of those are going to be like immediate things you need to address right now. Some of them aren't. Rank it though in order of mission. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Is the thing you're working on the most important thing for your mission? And if it's a high missional thing, if it's a medium missional thing, if it's a low missional thing, right? If it's low priority for all of those, and what that does is it's just giving you data points to look at how you're spending your time. And this really simple exercise is going to tell you where your energy is best spent. It's going to tell you how much time you're spending on high leverage missional items and low leverage missional items. And it's just a really baseline level to understand, again, what you're doing day in and day out, how it impacts the mission of the church, how effective you are as a Catholic ministry professional. And that's the second step, is to really get to an understanding of how you spend your time. And that's going to give you a little more insight as you look at AI implementation, best use cases. Ty, have you ever done a time audit?
Yeah, I've done it on myself, and I've actually done it with some salespeople
Mm-hmm.
that I manage. I managed a guy that he was the top salesperson in the company, and he outsold the second place, or the second most successful territory, by like 3 times. And so my manager coming in, he'd always say like, "Oh, you gotta hit the phones hard. You gotta hit the phones hard. You gotta hit the phones hard," which I agree with. If you hit the phones hard at the right time,
Mm.
right? Like there's no point in just making 100 dials and nobody's answering the phone, right? I'd rather make 20 dials and have 20 people pick up. So I did a time audit on him, and it was amazing to see like how he organized his day.
Mm.
And it was literally to the minute. It wasn't 2 minutes over, let's say 11 o'clock, that he would continue to do what he was doing for the last hour and a half. It's like, no, I've got to do this from this time to this time, and when it hits this time, I'm moving on to the next. And he never had a timer. He didn't really watch the clock. Like, oh, if I just not make a call for the next 2 minutes, I can move on to the next thing. He was so precise in his timing, and he was so good at it that it obviously worked in his territory, right? Because I think he was grossing well over $1 million in his territory every single year, and the next person was probably 300. So it was amazing to see. So I did a time audit on him, and I'm like, man, if I can get everybody on my team to do what you do, we'd be successful. Unfortunately, nobody wanted to subscribe to that idea, and that's a whole different topic for another day. But team members look at other people that are successful and go, well, it works for them, not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done a time audit. It's very, if you can swallow your pride and do a time audit, you will find, I would guess, probably 2 to 3 hours in your day, especially if you utilize AI to take care of the mundane tasks. You will find 2 to 3 hours in your day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and yeah, the humility piece is huge, because what you're going to find is probably times that you're just goofing around on your phone, or you'll realize, oh, I'm not on my phone because I'm auditing my time. Like you're going to have those realizations as you go. You're going to realize, oh, after I get my coffee in the morning, I typically talk to Ethel in the front office for 15, 20 minutes. And that's not necessarily, it's not a bad thing, but it's an awareness of, I spend 5 hours a week just talking to people, but in my office, which again are not bad things. But when you look at the mission of the church, actually, what if you took those 5 hours and you were able to spend it talking to people outside of the office, and how that might impact the ministry that you do? So it just gives you very key insight into how you work through your day, the opportunities that you have for more intentional ministry, as well as the threats against really intentional ministry. So it's a great place to start, is with the time audit. So with ongoing professional development, this ongoing learning in what AI is capable of, and best uses for it, then taking the time to audit your time spent at work. Finally, number three is I want you to take some time to experiment with the AI using what you've already done, right? If this is just the normal rhythm of your day, you could knock this out in a week, really, right? Just dip your toe in the water, listening to a podcast or go on YouTube and find some leading voice in AI, then do the time audit. And over the course of a week, do the time audit. And then number three, you can take your time audit as an Excel sheet, as a CSV sheet, whatever it is, and you can upload it into something like ChatGPT, ask it for insights, right? Once that time audit's done, just upload it up there to ChatGPT and ask it for suggestions. Like, hey, this is how I spent my week. This is the time audit I did. I'm really interested in automation. I'm interested in delegation. I'm really interested in seeing how I can become more efficient with my time so that I can be more effective in ministry and making disciples, and to take time to really play with it, to have that dialogue with the chat GPT or the AI you choose to use, and experiment and learn what works for your context, right? What works for your specific participation in the ministry of the church, because you might be in the finance office and that's going to look different when you look at, okay, well, my job is partially development, and it's going to come up with different suggestions based on that. And it's going to, if you're the youth minister, it's going to have different expectations, ideas for you, how you can create more time, and then how you should use the time you've created. So you just kind of throw those ideas out there. And again, this is not, ChatGPT is not God. You don't have to take all of its ideas and suggestions, but it can be really useful tool, again, for thinking through and solving some problems that you encounter, some frustrations that you experience in your ministry. And so that's the third one, is to take some time to experiment with it before launching off and, some tirade about how you in the office, need to lead this change. Take some time to kind of play with it. Take some time to learn. And a final note on that, too, I would say, is that there's a need for discernment, right? Just because ChatGPT might suggest that you automate something, that you delegate something, doesn't mean that you should, right? Especially if doing that replaces a relationship, you may need to skip it, particularly in ministry. But if it frees you up to lead more intentionally, then yeah, go for it. Try it. See what happens and see if it's helpful, and be willing to pivot as needed as you seek to kind of implement and try to use these resources and tools, which are not going away. All right. Any final thoughts on that, Ty?
No, you said it all.
All right, then. With that, I think we can move on to the devil's advocate. Dun dun.
John, I don't think you understand my staff or my people. My people are not techie. I can't get them to respond to an email. I'm pretty sure most of our correspondence is through snail mail or the bulletin. AI scares us. Scares me, quite frankly. What would you say to that?
The first response, that first part, that our people aren't techie, most AI tools today, I would say, are built for quote unquote normal people, you and me, right, Ty? Not advanced coders. It's not people who implement these that build these tools. It's for people to implement them. They're very user friendly. So if you can send an email or type a Google search, you can use them. You can learn how to use them. You have all the ability, and then to approach the fear, to, AI does it does seem a little scary, especially if you watched The Terminator, but this fear comes from the unknown. So we have an obligation to demystify it. Spend 30 minutes this week just researching what AI can do, especially like use cases in ministry. Go to YouTube and just say AI 101 or Chat GPT 101, and see what comes up. And once you see how simple it is, the hesitation that you have, I think it's going to fade, and curiosity is going to take over, especially when you hear that idea that goes, oh, this solves a real frustration that I have today. That's when it's going to get those wheels rolling of, okay, how can we solve this? All right. And with that, then, of course, we never want to leave you without some actionable steps that you can take. So, Ty, why don't you give them some actionable steps here?
Yeah, I love that idea of just going to YouTube and just seeing somebody else do it. But
Mhm.
the actionable step that I actually have is go to Chat GPT on your browser, Google it, and go to their website. I think it's OpenAI dot whatever, or just chatgpt.com. It's a free tool. If you want to create an account, you can, but you can literally just start using it. And what I want you to do is create this prompt. And it could be just as basic, right? We just talked about it. As you kind of get better at ChatGPT, you come up with better prompts. But just start with this. Be my teacher and teach me how to utilize AI or ChatGPT or whatever. And really the three caveats that I will tell you to have in your prompts is I go with the CFO acronym, right? One is context. So the C is context. What is the context? What do you want to learn and who is it for?
Mhm.
The F is for the format. So how do you want it? Do you want it in, say, a paragraph? Do you want it in a novel? Do you want it, just something quick that you can digest? And really, the last one is probably the most important, the outcome. What do you want it to do? By the end of 30 days, by the end of reading this, I want to be more familiarized with AI or whatever it is. So that's what I want you to do. Go to chatgpt.com and put in be my teacher. I need to learn about AI and how to use ChatGPT in my job. Maybe if you want to go a step further, give a quick context of what your job is so that ChatGPT can help you understand how to use AI in your current role. So take that actionable step and try to demystify, like Jon was talking about, this whole idea of like, it's too techy, it's too out of this world, my team's not going to like it. What if you found one thing that could clear up 30 minutes in your time, even if that 30 minutes is to go grab lunch or grab a bite to eat or whatever, right? Jon, I think in an earlier episode, you'd actually had this example. You're on a Zoom call with a bunch of Catholic ministry professionals, and one guy actually asked, like, do you guys eat in your day? Like, do we have time for lunch? So imagine being able to clear up 15, 20, 30 minutes of your day. Like I said, I think you can actually find with a time audit
Mhm.
2 hours. So the actionable step is just start. Just start. Go to chatgpt.com, create that prompt, input that prompt on how to learn about AI.
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. And of course, if this is still overwhelming for you, you can always go to catholicministryprofessionals.com and send us a message to schedule a discovery call. We'd love to talk with you about the problems you're encountering, the frustrations you have in ministry, and how we can move you from frustration and into renewal. And of course, one of our workshops might be a great fit to help you get your entire team aligned and focused on mission. So, yes, Ty.
Speaking of AI, I do want to give a quick shout out. We're not sponsored by them, but we are open to a conversation. There's an AI for
Not
Catholics out
yet.
there. Not yet.
Not
There
yet.
is an AI for Catholics out there, or somebody discerning whether or not to convert to the faith, somebody that is continuing their journey in the faith. It's called Truthly. Jon, have you heard about this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's what's Matt Fradd say? He says it's as if ChatGPT joined OCIA and got baptized.
Exactly. So truthfully, you can literally use it to help navigate the teachings of the church. What do we actually believe as Catholics? It's just an amazing tool for
Imagine,
for Catholics.
and that's what's going to come out of AI and why we want to learn how to use it and implement it. And like, this is where the scalability of discipleship often comes in too, is imagine you've got that hard-headed, non-practicing Buddhist in your OCIA class, and they're challenging everything, or that staunch atheist, and they're asking the volunteer who has no theology degree or background in ministry the hard questions on the faith. And that person can say with all honesty and with like every desire of the heart is, I don't know the answer, but let's find it together. And now they pull up their Truthfully app and they say, hey, just say your question into the phone and let's see what comes up and we'll all learn together. The power of that, because now your teachers are learning alongside the students. It opens up everybody to, like, everybody with that desire that they want to go deeper in the faith. Like, these tools are going to be able to help people to like leverage that forward for the kingdom. And you as parish professionals can create the pathways and the knowledge and the understanding through which people will be able to approach this with greater openness and take the ball and run with it. You know, we talk about this win, build, send model from Focus. Like, if they're won over, give them the tools, like build them up and send them. Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a fun age for Catholic ministry.
I'm just looking at some of the conversations that I've had with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And one of them, I was just kind of, I don't know if I needed some brain rot in my day or whatever, but I had prompted it, or just asked it a question. I said, if you had to choose one world religion for the betterment of the world, what would you choose? Christianity was what it came back with. And I said, there are so many denominations within Christianity. What one would best serve humanity? And with out like skipping a beat. It didn't, you know, like sometimes it like has to think for a little bit. That like it literally spit it out right away and said the Catholic Church. I'm
Oh,
like,
did you ask it why?
boom.
Why?
Let's see if I did. Yes. So I did ask why, and they said here are the some of the reasons: government and laws would protect life from conception to natural death, and then it's got like 5 bullet points to each. Economics and work, so business would serve people and not the way around. Family and education, marriage and family would be honored at the foundation of society. Science and culture, healthcare and charity, faith and community, like all these different reasons why the Catholic Church, beyond just Christianity, the Catholic Church would be the best world religion for the betterment of the world.
Mm,
Suck
I
on
love
that,
it.
Satan.
All right. And with that, I want to thank you for listening to this episode. Guys, if you found this episode helpful, please don't let it be just another good idea. Text it to a priest or a friend in ministry and start the conversation today.
And with that, we'll see you in the vineyard.